Today is going to be a fun one. We're going to make escargot. Oh! C'est magnifique. Stay tuned.
Gas up the Jeep, it's good to be free. Load up the pans and fishing poles. The highway is long, the wheels turning round. Pack up the cook stove and the bowls. Arlo and I, we hit the open road. Arlo and I are on the road.
Bonjour. Hey everybody, I'm back in the kitchen today, and I thought I would have some fun and do maybe the most quintessential French dish there is. There's a couple of them, but this is probably one of them that people think of the most is escargot. Now I thought for fun, I have Paul Bocuse's book, French Cooking here. This is a classic for sure, but I'm going to use the recipe from in here. It's a really simple recipe, and there's a million different variations, but the basic idea is the same. It's butter, parsley, garlic, shallots, and salt and pepper. Let's see what else. Yeah, and that's it. And sometimes with the addition of white wine, maybe white wine from Burgundy, since this is a dish from Burgundy, France. So okay, I have my little escargot plate, pan. This one's cast iron. I have some garlic, some shallots, some butter, salt and pepper, lots of parsley, and then of course we have some bread to eat that on. Now today I thought it would be fun to put some absinthe on there, so I'm going to be adding some absinthe. And then of course the star of the show, I have these escargot and the shells. Now like I said, I have this sort of kit here for escargot. This one comes with the actual shells, and then there's a can of the cooked escargot in the bottom here. Let's see, actually let's open it up and take a look. So we'll dump out. Okay, here are our escargot right here. Now these are already cooked. It's a process to actually take fresh snails and clean them and then cook them and get them ready to this stage. So most chefs, including myself, always buy canned escargot. Long time ago, I worked in a Catalan Spanish style restaurant for many years, and I used to serve paella, and I made thousands of paellas, but one of the ingredients that we did add to the paella is the escargot. And what we did is we took the canned escargots and we sauteed them with a little bit of olive oil and garlic and shallots, and then deglazed it with a little white wine and let them simmer in that for a little bit to give them a little bit of extra flavor. And I'm going to do that today before we cook them in the butter. Now what's cool is, of course, like I said, you have the can of escargots, which also comes with all the little snail shells. You can buy the escargot by themselves, but it's fun to get the ones with the shell because I like the way the presentation with the shell. And what you would do is you take your little escargot dish and you put the shells in here like this. And then the butter and the snails all go back in here, and we pop this into the oven until it's all like bubbling and sizzling, and then they're ready to eat. So the first thing I'm going to do is get my mise en place together. I'm going to mince up my garlic and my shallots, chop some parsley, and then my butter has been sitting out and getting nice and soft, so we can blend all those things together. Like I said, often in this compound butter that we're making here, people will put some white wine in there, just a little splash, but I thought it would be fun to use some absinthe because a lot of traditional recipes actually call for using a little Pernod in here, and it has that sort of like light licoricey kind of anisey kind of a flavor. And I thought I would just go just a step further and use some absinthe. So that's always fun. Okay, so I have all of my mise en place, my prep ready to go for the dish. I did chop some shallots, have some chopped parsley. Of course, we have our snails. We have some garlic right here, which I'm going to use when we saute our snails. So that's what we're going to do first. So I'm going to open these up and let's check them out. I don't know if you've ever seen snails before, but they come in their kind of poaching liquid, and they look kind of like what you would expect them to look like, kind of a curled up little snail. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to drain off all this liquid, and then I'm going to go to the stove and I'm going to start sauteing these and adding a little flavor to them. Then we're going to let them cool down a little bit so we can handle them, and then we're going to assemble our dish. Alright, we're over at the stove now, and we're going to add a little bit of flavor, a little bit more flavor to those escargot before we put them into our actual dish. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little olive oil to our pan, and then some shallots, like that. Okay, and then the garlic. Alright, and then to that I'm going to add our snails. That's 1 can of snails. And then deglaze it with some white wine. Okay. I'm going to turn my heat down to low, actually, and we're just going to let these just kind of steep in here, kind of simmer very lightly in all this wine and onions and shallots, and then we're going to turn this off and let them cool down a little bit so that we can handle them and put them back in their shells. Alright, those look amazing and they smell really good. They've been simmering in the wine for about 3 or 4 minutes. Now I'm going to push them to the back of the stove, and then we'll go on to the next step. Okay, and the next step is to create our compound butter. So I've had this butter sitting out for quite a while, so it's nice and soft. Switch this up. This is 2 sticks of butter. Okay, and then to that I'm going to add a couple cloves of garlic. I'm just going to use this garlic press. Okay, next we're going to add some of the shallots, a good amount of parsley, some salt, some cracked black pepper. Now these are all the ingredients that are basically in the traditional escargot butter. Sometimes people will add, like I said, some white wine. Today I'm going to be adding a little bit of this Swiss absinthe. This is very strong, so don't need much, just a little splash. Oops. And we'll get all this mixed together. Now, if you like, you could do this in a mixer or use a handheld mixer or whatever. But I find it really easy to do it this way. Okay, there it is. That's what it looks like. There is our escargot butter. Okay, now we have everything we need to make our dish. Now, it really is a very simple dish. There's just a couple things that we need to do ahead of time. But once we get everything together, it's super simple. So what I have is my little escargot dish with this one holds 6, which is traditional. 6, and I have the 6 shells in here. Now you don't have to do this with the shells. If you just have dish, you can put some of the butter and the snails just right into this little opening here on the plate or the dish. But if you do have the shells, if you're able to buy that whole kit or get the shells, that's kind of a fun way to do this. So now this is the fun part. We're going to assemble them. Now this really is the fun part. We're going to fill our shells. So we're going to take a little bit of that escargot butter. I'm going to get that down in the bottom of the shell. Then I'm going to take one of my escargots and poke that down on top of the butter. And then we're going to add a great big dollop of butter back right on top, just like that. And that's the way it should look. I want to have that upright so that all the butter melts back down into the shell. So we're going to do that with all of them. A little bit of butter. On the bottom, poke your escargot in. And a nice big dollop of the butter on top. Okay. All right, and I'm going to put these on a tray here so that when the butter, if the butter tends to melt over, they won't go in the bottom of the oven. But this has a nice big lip on here, so we shouldn't have a problem with that at all. All right, our escargot are in the oven, and they'll only be in there for, I don't know, 6 to 8 minutes, something like that, until the butter melts and gets all bubbly and the escargot starts to get a little bit crispy along the edges, and then it'll be perfect, and we'll take it out. It's in the oven at 400 degrees. You need a hot oven. You want to be probably 400, 425, somewhere in that area. Now, the only other thing that you might need for this dish is some nice bread. And what I have here is some beautiful bread that our next door neighbor, Barb and Brad, made for us. So this is super delicious. So I'm going to be using that on my escargot, which is going to be a special treat. I made quite a bit of this snail butter, and well, I did that on purpose because this is great stuff to have around. It's not just for snails, even though we call it snail butter. It really is just a compound butter with lots of garlic, parsley, and shallots. This one happens to have a little bit of absinthe in it, but this would be great on, melt on a piece of chicken, a steak. It'd be great for just about it. Make some garlic bread. Spread this on your bread, put it in the oven. Be perfect. There's so many uses for this. It's always nice to have a nice extra amount of this in the fridge. For the escargot, we have quite a few of those left over. I think that small can, which I think is the smallest you can buy, contains a couple dozen of them in here. So don't worry, I will be enjoying those today. I only have one of the little escargot pans, a little cast iron that I was using, but I can dump these into a saute pan, and I can cook a whole big batch of them just for me to eat with bread, and that would be delicious. Dip my bread in the butter. I don't really necessarily need the pan to finish these off. So anyway, our escargots are almost ready to come out of the oven, and we'll try them out. So what I decided to do was to roll up my butter, my compound butter, into a little log. This is what you would do with a maitre d' butter, same thing. And then you put this in the fridge, and then whenever you want to use it, take a knife and slice off little slices and put a medallion on top of your steak, or whatever you're putting it on. So that's a perfect way to store this. So that's what I'm going to do with the rest of this. Okay, well, our escargot is looking really good, but it's taking a little bit longer in the oven than I was expecting. So it's been in there for about 10 minutes right now, so I think it's going to be about 12-13 minutes in the 400-degree oven for them to be nice and bubbly. So we'll just hang on here and see. All right, our snails are out of the oven. They are bubbling and sizzling, and they smell delicious. I let them sit for a couple minutes so that I can handle them because I don't have the little snail tongs and stuff that you're supposed to use to eat these. So I'm going to use my fingers and this little cocktail toothpick. So look how, I don't know if you can see how pretty those look in there with all the parsley and all that. I'll put this over here so you can see a little bit better. So we'll pick this up and get this snail out of there. Look at that. Oh. That is so good. All that butter and the juice from the snail. Oh, that's so good. That might be the best part. And then the other way to eat this is to get a nice piece of bread, and then we'll do the same thing. We'll scoop the snail out of the shell, just like that. We'll put it on that piece of bread, and then we'll drizzle some of that extra butter on there. Wow. That's so good. Wow. That is so good, and it's so simple. And it's such a nice little treat. Oh, and I forgot. I have some of my some absinthe. Here, I don't have all the equipment to do absinthe correctly, but I did add some cool water and some sugar to this. That is so good. If you've never had absinthe, it definitely has sort of a licoricey kind of a flavor. And the little bit of absinthe that we put into our snail butter really comes through too. If you really like that strong licorice kind of flavor, put a lot more in there. I just put a little bit just so I can get that little hint of aroma and flavor. But right now, mostly what I'm tasting, the way we did it, is of course the snail, the wine, a little bit of that absinthe, and then garlic. And it's so rich with the butter. I'm not going to have any trouble polishing off the rest of those escargot from the can. As soon as I finish this video, I'm going to fill up this pan again and pop it back in the oven and get another batch going. So. Oh. You got to drink that butter. That's the best part. Oh yeah, this is such a treat for me today. So good. Hope you enjoyed this little French edition today. If you like this video, please like, please subscribe. That always helps us a lot. And we will see you in the next one. All right, au revoir. And of course, I was going to follow the recipe by Paul Bocuse exactly. I put all the same ingredients in there, but I didn't measure anything out. But basically, that's kind of the traditional way to do this, with the exception of the addition of the absinthe. But anyway, I used to see Paul Bocuse all the time when I was going to culinary school in New York. And I can find a picture of him with my graduating class from culinary school. I will put that at the end of this video because it's kind of fun. Anyway, I will see you in the next one. Bye.